You know, with WWE's recent financial troubles lately, we've all kind of wondered what they could do. We've all wondered what WWE can do to rebound. And apparently, according to various sources, whether you want to believe them or not, Vince McMahon plans to make more cuts in the coming weeks, if not months, which means we could see more wrestlers, maybe from NXT, some from the main roster, be released. We could see more behind the scenes releases, like up in the offices of Stamford, Connecticut, and behind the scenes as well, like with producers and road agents. We could see all that. We could see the cut of production costs when it comes to maybe live events. You know, basically we wouldn't have two little small Titantrons or a big old X anymore. We'd just go back to what it was. We could have all that occur. You know, we could even have a slow downscaling of the Raw and SmackDown sets. We could. But there is a way to save it. Now, I've talked about the WWE Network before. A lot of us have. I've talked about the good and the bad. I've talked about some, I think I may have talked about, again, I have to look at my videos and you can check them out too. I have to look back at what I said there. But the thing is with the WWE is a lot of people are pointing the financial problems towards the WWE Network. Now some might say and defend the fact that the WWE Network is not really the main problem. And it's true. I mean, for mainly $10 a month, it's not really a bad deal. But I think there is one major factor that's killing it. And some people may or may not agree with this. And that is having the pay-per-views on the WWE Network. Now, one can understand and respect the pay-per-views of the past being on the network. Some can even understand and respect more recent pay-per-views probably being on there right after the live broadcast. People can understand and respect that. But then again, you have the live broadcast. And to some, that is what's cutting into WWE's financial gain, and basically what's killing them. You see, one of the ways WWE always used to financially get money, if you will, was by basically always getting a cut of the pay-per-view buy rate that would come their way every time somebody bought a pay-per-view. Now, there are people that still buy the pay-per-views because they don't fully trust the WWE Network. I mean, indication, quite honestly, with Money in the Bank, that there can be some streaming problems. So, one might say to themselves, what could they do to fix this? One might say, what could they do to fix this? And it's quite honestly what they should do, and I think anybody would agree. I mean, it's bad enough that you lose a lot of cable providers because of the WWE Network. But this is the main reason why a lot of these cable providers left you. It's not because of the fact that you have the WWE Network. It's not because of the fact that you're using the network to provide a vast variety of content to its subscribers. it's more along the lines that you're taking away from the pay-per-view business. Now again, I'm sure they would not mind if you had the WWE. Now again, I'm sure they wouldn't mind if you let the WWE, broadcast the recent live pay-per-view event on their network after the live broadcast ended. I'm sure they wouldn't mind that, but I think they would more along the lines would rather have it happen 24 hours later. In other words, give them 24 hours from the time the pay-per-view starts, officially live, until 24 hours later after it ends, then broadcast the pay-per-view on the network. Thus, the cable companies still gain money. But because WWE decided, hey, we're going to give you all the pay-per-views for free, for just a monthly cost of $9.99, that upset these people. That upset a lot of the cable companies. Now, you might say that the cable companies are upset because they're losing that money they just loved to get. They're losing that cut they love to get. Isn't that everything? But after this past Sunday, that might favor them, though. You see, a lot of people pretty much have come out and complained that they've had trouble with the stream. I even asked my 19-year-old nephew, who said he saw Money in the Bank live, courtesy of the WWE Network, over at his other grandma, over at his dad's mom's place. Again, like I said, through the WWE Network, that he saw it there. And he even said that his step-grandfather, if you will, had problems. So again, WWE, they have these kind of problems, and let's not kid ourselves. WWE Network has had problems with the live streams sometimes when it comes to the network. I mean, sometimes something might get skipped over just by a few seconds, and then you don't know what happened. But if you're watching it on pay-per-view, you don't get that. So again, that does play in the favor of the pay-per-view providers. So here's what I would do if I was WWE and I wanted to try to regain that financial footing that I've lost. I reset the table with the network, and I make the announcement that you'll still be able to get the recent pay-per-views of Battleground, of things like the upcoming Battleground and SummerSlam and Night of Champions, all that. You'll still be able to get them, but you'll only get them 24 hours after, or 24 hours after, or get them right at midnight, after the live broadcast and encore broadcast of the event on pay-per-view. I would make that announcement that basically starting at midnight, the day, which would basically be the day after the pay-per-view, is when WWE Network would start broadcasting encore presentations of the pay-per-view. That way, the cable companies can finally get that profitable cut again, and then, in a sense, WWE could regain, as part of the deal that they could regain that profit that they lost as well. That, to me, would help them out. I think that's what they need to do eventually, and I think that's probably what they're going to do. They're going to have to go in the direction where they're going to say, okay, we're no longer going to put live pay-per-views on the network, but you'll still watch the pay-per-views starting, let's say, around midnight on the WWE Network after the live broadcast and encore broadcast, or after the official broadcasting of the event around midnight, or put it like this, around midnight Eastern Pacific time, around, if you will, 11 o'clock Central. You'll be able to watch the pay-per-view on the network and not have to worry about it. That's about it. They'll still be able to watch the pay-per-view on the network and not have to worry about any consequences. And I believe that's the direction they're going to probably end up going in. If they don't release any more superstars or divas, or if they don't cut any more people behind the scenes or in the offices of Stamford, Connecticut, I believe the direction they're going to go in is basically go in the direction of saying, hey, we're going to put the live pay-per-view back on pay-per-view. We're going to let the cable companies have the live broadcast, and we'll wait till at least later on, maybe midnight or 24 hours later at the most, till we broadcast it on the WWE Network. That way you allow the cable networks to regain that financial loss, that financial profit that they lost, and thus part of the deal, of course, you being WWE, you get a cut of that profit that they lost and that you're losing, you get that back. So to me, I believe that's the direction they're going to go in, and they need to go in, and that is allow the pay-per-views to be on pay-per-view. Then later on, whether it's at midnight or 24 hours later, allow it to be broadcast on the WWE Network. It's just my opinion. Just my opinion. So, but let me know what you guys think. Do you think this would help WWE regain some of the costs they have? Or do you think it might hurt them? Let me know what you guys think. Comment below, and I will talk to you later, but let me know what you guys think.